So tonight is Purple Gang with Dennis Hagen. He's a documentary producer, and he's working on a documentary on the Purple Gang. So hopefully he's going to tell us a little bit about the history and maybe some stories about paranormal activity. We are recording this, so look for it on the members only Facebook page or the members only part of the website. So we do ask that you mute yourself throughout the whole presentation. And I think everybody's muted that I can see. So you know how to do that. Also to turn off your video because we are recording it. And if you have any questions, type them into the chat box, the chat icon, via the chat icon on the bottom of the screen. Oh, it's on the bottom of my screen. I don't know where it is on you, on what you're using. And Dennis is going to answer those questions at the end of the program. Correct, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay. So are you ready, Carol? I lost Carol. And Dennis is ready. So, okay, let's give it a go.
All right. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you. We are a paranormal team again. We are out of Toledo, Ohio. We chose to do a documentary on the Purple Gang because with Toledo has ties to the Purple Gang. And I've never done a documentary with the paranormal field. I've watched paranormal documentaries, but I have never done like a documentary. So this is like my first time ever doing a documentary, presenting a part of this documentary. You guys will see some of the evidence that we captured. You will not see the whole evidence or any of that. I'll give you guys like little bits of evidence here and there. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I will be honest, this is my first presentation, so just bear with me. I hope everyone enjoys it, and I hope everyone, finds it, useful and finds it really cool. And I hope you all want to check the documentary out when it comes out the fall and winter of this end of this year, okay? Because I'm still putting it together. So, all right. So I'm going to share the PowerPoint that I did. All right. So with that being said, this is the paranormal presentation of the Purple Gang. I have done research. There are some documentaries out there of the Purple Gang, but no one's ever touched base on the paranormal side of things, because you never know. See, with the Purple Gang, they started back in the 1910, 1915, somewhere between 1910 and 1930s when they finally just exploded. But in those locations that they touched, that they used, no one's really reached out to those locations and asked hey, are you experiencing paranormal activity, stuff like that. So, but I will show you the introduction to the documentary that me and my team filmed. We did a little introductory type thing. So I'll show that.
Ladies.
So that was the introductory. So I'm going to go into a little bit about my team. So again, my team is out of Toledo. We were established in 2017. I founded the team for about a couple of years, and then my wife joined the team, and basically we co-founded the team together. Why did we choose a documentary on the Purple Gang? Again, the Purple Gang has history. They have violence. We wanted to reach out to the locations and do a documentary because, again, I did research. I'd seen documentaries on the Purple Gang, but nothing paranormal to actually reach out and see if their energy or the victims that they murdered, if their energy was still attached to that location and would talk to us, you know. Places we visit in Michigan in this part one of the documentary, we went to Cops and Donuts, went to the Doherty Hotel, and we went to the Leisure Hour Club. And there was a residential home we went to, but I don't know if I'm going to put that in the documentary or not. They had basically a car that they said was used by the Purple Gang. I don't know if I'm going to put it in the documentary or not. I have to see. So first up is Cops and Donuts. Again, Cops and Donuts is in Clare, Michigan. Everyone probably has heard of Cops and Donuts. It's owned by Rhino and Bubba. Really great guys. Love them to death. They invited us in. I actually contacted them to set up a meeting at the same time when we were there to film and investigate the Doherty Hotel. At that time, I met with both Bubba and Rhino, and we were talking and working out, you know, details and letting us come in and film with them and their location. Come to find out that they bought the building next door, expanded their business, and he showed me a surveillance footage that happened on July 4th of this year. Now, if you watch closely, you will see something happen up in here. And I'll play it here. That window shattered. But the funny part is which no one reacted to that window shattering. As you can tell, and I'll take it back here. As you can tell, these workers, see, these workers are doing nothing. She's leaving, she's still cleaning, and then when she walks away, this window shatters. The worker is still working. She never heard nothing. Now, here's what the shattered window looks like. It's a bullet hole. I compared it to bullet hole pictures online. Is a complete bullet hole. Now I'm going to play I'm going to play part of the interview that I did with Rhino where he talks about that whole incident.
I also know that you had a window got shattered that you cannot explain.
Yeah, totally. It's so strange. Just this year in 2020, it was the early morning of July 4th. And we have workers in the building all the time, but we've got security cameras everywhere. And the window up here was put in just in 2016 when we did a renovation. So we know that it's a newer window. And all of a sudden it just shattered. And when they first noticed it, they came right up and took a picture. And there was just one little hole in there. It wasn't perfectly round or anything. It was like a chip gone out of it, but it spidered out from that. Then we reviewed the security footage. There was no one in the area at all. It's just totally unexplained.
Yeah.
At first, I kind of thought that we hang these little suction cups on there and hang shirts on them. And I thought maybe it was just a weak piece of glass and it suction over time. But the suction cup was about 18 inches off to the side. There was nothing there. Just all of a sudden happened.
Yeah, I remember when you sent me the footage and I actually reviewed it. And when I reviewed it, when I first saw it, none of your workers reacted as if it was like a gunshot or anything.
No.
Like there was nothing.
No, and it was the inside pane, a double pane window, and it was the inside pane only, not the outside. So it did not happen from outside the building.
Yeah.
Something inside the building. I talked to the contractor that did it. He said he'd never seen anything like that. If it was a stress crack, like maybe the building had shifted, those normally break from the edge or a corner or something like that.
Yeah, to me, it kind of looked like a bullet hole.
Yeah,
I'm just
something.
Yeah,
there's
because
something there.
I compared it with some Googling bullet holes, and it looked like a bullet hole. So, not saying yes or no, but it did look like a bullet hole.
Yep.
But that my friend was crazy.
Yeah. The one thing I thought is, you when you see figures that you think are spirits or ghosts or whatever, they're always just like a hologram or whatever. Well, maybe it was just a shooting carried out, and those holograms are just so soft and everything that there was just enough in there with that bullet or something to only break the inside pane.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing was found laying or anything.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
thought
totally unexplained.
I thought maybe it could be a residual energy. Something could have happened that day that kind of activated the residual energy to this building.
Sure.
Just boom. So
something broke it.
Yeah, I agree.
Unexplained. There's a lot of things that are unexplained.
I agree 100% with you, Lionel.
Yeah.
Agree. That's crazy.
So that was part of the interview. We talked about that bullet hole or that hole in the window, and we both agreed that it was like a bullet hole. So we don't know if it was residual energy and something happened that day, and it just just boom. But nobody reacted, nobody heard it. It's just boom. So now I'm going to go into my first piece of evidence here of Cops and Donuts. Now I'm going to explain what we have going on here. I'm using a software called the Phasma Box. Okay, it's a software that I have downloaded in my laptop. It's a software where spirits can communicate through that software to communicate to us. So we're communicating. Now when they moved over, they discovered tunnels, and they had tunnels that lead to the basement of this building that goes up to the top that led to the attic of the place. Now with this, it's like a ladder that they have. Now the ladder that they found a sawed-off shotgun with no license number, nothing. And I have it right here, laying right here with the device next to it. Now what we capture over the Phasma Box is really impressive. And I'll play the whole video twice so everybody can catch it. But it's really impressive what we capture.
Do you have the other gun on the floor or something?
Yeah, the other one's in the bag.
Pull it out.
Okay.
Why not?
Are down here. Are down here.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did put them in there. Louis Gillerman, James Powell, Joe Bernstein, Sam Bernstein, Sam Stain, Sam Vassallo, Jacob Lovitz,
Nothing. Go ahead. Keep reading.
John Wolf,
Any of those ring a bell?
Yeah.
Say yeah.
Maybe. Sewell, Abe Zussman, Lily Lakes, Harry Fleischer, Jack Stein, Sam Axler, Abe Axler, Eddie Fletcher,
All right. I got 2 loaded guns down, 3 loaded guns down here. 3 loaded guns and a bag of money. Well, 2 bags of money.
Bring the money up, I'll help you.
what would that say? Don't touch the bag?
Is that what it said?
Something like that.
Dang.
So that was in the basement of Cops and Donuts. So basically, when I say I had 3 loaded guns, I basically was telling them basically the sawed-off shotgun was loaded and I had 2 cap guns that were loaded with caps in them. So I was basically saying I got 3 loaded guns and 2 bags of money. So, you know, if anyone wanted to come and, you know, grab it and try to, you know, grab a gun or whatever, they're more than welcome to. Now, what's also cool about this too is that not just did we just use the Phasma box, we also used the SB7's box, which is a
Yeah, I'll call you back. I'm looking at a video for the Genealogy Society. It'll be over at either 7 or 7:30.
Which is also where I also use a SLS camera, and this is called a structure light sensor camera, which basically is made from the Xbox Kinect camera, which stick figures are formed out of. So I'll show that here.
Holy crap. Look it, found one. Got it. I see you. What are you doing there? Yup, it goes right along with this going off. Funny. Yup. Are you one of the gangsters? You come talk into this. Oh, whoa.
Now I'm going to pause it for a second. If you actually look at the leg right here, it's actually standing in front of me, in front of the camera. It's actually standing in front of me because it's not mapping out this object because it's standing right here in front, because the object is right here. It's standing literally in front of this object. And this is mapping out a legitimate spirit that manifested, that I can't see with my own eyes, but on my SLS camera. So.
Whoa, come here. I'm getting a charge of energy right here. And there's something right here, like right there. Look, and the thing is going off. Hi. You keep waving your hand like I don't see you. I see you. Yep, now it's gone.
And then it disappeared. So I think that was kind of cool. That was like 2 pieces of really good evidence we captured from Cops and Donuts. You know, really good guys, Bubba and Rhino. If you have never been to Cops and Donuts, please, you know, check them out. They got some really good donuts. Love their donuts. So we're going to move on to the Doherty Hotel. Now everyone knows the story of the Doherty Hotel. Doherty Hotel is where the bar right here is where Jack Livingston shot Isaiah at. They were cousins and they both were part ownership of a oil company. What happened was Livingston developed syphilis because he was a ladies' man, caught syphilis, and messed with his head, and he thought the Purple Gang put a hit out on him. So he basically met with Isaiah, and he ended up shooting him. But he ended up buying, after he shot Isaiah, he actually bought the whole bar around the drinks and stuff. So I'm going to interview I'll play one of the interviews I did with one of the generation of Dohertys. So.
In 1932, the Depression hit, and so we've always had a Purple Gang element, or mobsters, if you would, and they're out of Detroit. Capone would be Italian, Purple Gang would be Jewish, and what made them so powerful was the liquor running had to go through Detroit to get to Chicago, and so that was the first stop before they got to Chicago. So they were a pretty powerful group anyways. But Clare was about 2.5 hours out of Detroit back then. But back then, you had these 2-lane highways, and so actually it was like maybe a 4.5, 5-hour trip to get up to Clare, and so this was considered way, way up north. And other thing that happened in Clare was they discovered oil and gas, and so to front their money laundering, racketeering, and other illegal activities, they had used that front to launder their money, this oil company to launder their money. The other thing that we're kind of, famous for, if you could say famous, was there was a shooting back in the early 30s. Two cousins, Livingston, Lebo, they said it was over. One thought the other would put a hit on him, but what happened was in the evening, he comes in, shoots him in our bar, sits down, buys the whole bar round of drinks, and he got off on temporary insanity. So that happened in the early 30s and such.
So that was an interview by one of the generation of Dohertys. I'm going to play another interview. I don't know if everyone's heard of him, but Scott Bernstein is an ancestor of the original founders of the Purple Gang. And I did an interview with him, and I'll play it where he talks about the Doherty Hotel. Let's go to Clare, Michigan, okay? We went to Clare, Michigan. We visit 2 locations there. The Doherty Hotel,
right,
which you know about.
Yep.
Where the cousin shot the one cousin, which was a lawyer.
Right. Jack Livingston killed Isaiah Lebo.
Yeah. Now, they said it was the reason for that was because he believed there was a hit out on him.
Yeah. Jack Livingston was, they called him Tex. He was Meyer Lansky's oil advisor, or not maybe that's a bad way to categorize it. He was all of Lansky's oil investments. Tex Livingston was the guy that was like the feet on the ground and knew the business at its root, and how to build that infrastructure for oil companies. Yeah. And where you're actually how to drill and how to build out that type of business. Okay. So Lansky had some investments in him in Oklahoma, I think. So when Lansky and the Bernsteins decided to make an investment in Mammoth Oil, which was the company that they owned out there, they brought in Charles Tex Livingston, Jack Tex Livingston, to run the operation on a day-to-day. Uh-huh. Isaiah Liebhoff was Meyer Lansky's kind of finance guy, lawyer type that was representing his interests in the area and in the Mammoth Oil. Livingston was a ladies' man and had gotten syphilis, and it was ravaging his brain. And he came to the conclusion that Lansky and Liebhoff and the Bernsteins were going to kill him. Uh-huh. It wasn't true, and no one really knows where that came from. Okay. Other than maybe just being, you're around so much murder, and everyone you're doing business with is a murderer. You just kind of believe eventually they're going to turn on you and murder you.
Yeah.
But Jack Livingston was in the good graces of the Purples and Lansky. Like I said, he was building that. He was planting the seeds that ended up. I mean, the Bernsteins and the Lanskys are eating off of that money that they started to make in the 30s off of that investment in Clare or around Mount Pleasant. I mean, that was long money, man. That was really what washed all their sins away. They were able to, clean all of their dirty money and continue making clean money off of the oil industry, and they expanded out into Illinois and Mississippi and New Orleans, and it was all because of Jack Livingston wrote the blueprint. So the notion that they were gonna, he was a golden goose, producing golden eggs. But the point I'm making is that he was in no danger. They valued his services, but the syphilis was eating away at his brain. He became convinced that they were going to kill him, and found out that Lebov and the Bernsteins and one or two other people were having dinner at the Doherty and came in there blasting.
Okay.
And then, it's a really interesting story because in the end, it benefited Bernstein and Lansky.
Sorry, my son.
No, it's okay.
So I apologize. My son came in for a brief minute when I was doing this interview. So I apologize just for a couple seconds. I'm just talking to someone. I'll get with you, okay? It's just a light. Nothing. I'll get with you, okay?
It's interesting and kind of ironic in some ways too, because
I can see that guy.
Here, you can come say hi. Come here.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy? Oh, you're the cutie.
That's my youngest.
What's
my youngest.
Teeth. Like,
all right.
Teeth can't come out. I just went to the dentist.
Oh, nice. You have pearly whites.
Okay. I apologize.
No, it's okay, man. But so by Tex Livingston losing his mind and killing Lebov, so the company was split three ways. Garfield and the Bernsteins were one part. Lebov and Lansky was another part, and with Livingston, and or Livingston had another piece of it. So Livingston kills Lebov, that eliminates Lansky's piece. Then Livingston's committed in a mental institution and ends up dying a couple years later. His piece is out the window. And so kind of just by happenstance, the Bernsteins inherited the whole business. So instead of having 1/3 of it, they own the whole thing going forward.
Dang.
And Lansky ended up getting back in, but they trimmed a lot of fat without intending to do it.
So that's basically the interview on Clare, Michigan with Scott Bernstein. He has some really good information, and I didn't know some of what he was telling me until he filled me in on some gaps that I didn't really know. So really good guy. Now I'm going to go to an interview where a great, lovely woman named Cheryl, she had a paranormal experience there at the Doherty, and I interviewed her. And I'll play this for everyone to hear too.
I looked at him, and I think the first thought in my head was, what's he doing back there? And first of all, why is he smoking? Because it was so strong. It was such a pungent smell. It was like kind of an unusual smoke smell because it was stronger than it would normally be.
Uh-huh.
And that's what kind of caught my attention, was the smell.
Yeah.
And so I was standing there waiting to use the facility, and I'm looking at him, and he wasn't really moving at all, and he just kept looking at me. And then, of course, the facility became available, and I had looked down for a second as the lady passed me, and I kind of said, and she didn't look, she didn't see anything, she didn't act like she saw anybody there. And when I looked up, he had turned and kind of was looking outside the window, looking out the window.
Okay.
And he was still, so I was like, okay, that's kind of strange. But so I just went in to use the facility, and when I came back out, it wasn't there anymore, and the smell was gone.
So that was Cheryl's paranormal experience at the Doherty Hotel. Before I play the 2 clips of evidence, I want to explain what I'm using here. So what I'm using is, let's put this right. So what I'm using is called a Flex 2 device, okay? Basically, it's sort of like a EMF detector, and it has a certain amount of range that can set it off on each side. Like spirits can use it to communicate temperature change, and if something walks in front of it, it will set it off. So the reason why I want to show you this device is because when we went to the Doherty Hotel to investigate, we were only able to get into the basement. We were allowed in the bar, but at the time they had the bar open and there was people in the bar. So by the time the bar closed and people would have got out of the bar, it would have been like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we were just like, whatever. So we investigated the basement, and the funny part about it all is that we never experienced any type of voices that came through our my spirit box, which again is the SB7. It scans through frequencies, and spirits can talk through multiple sweeps of frequency. They can say multiple words at once. So what they were basically communicating on is the Flex 2 right here. So what you're going to see is we're trying to communicate, and either my wife or I ask a question, and the Flex goes off. So.
What if I come grab it?
You want you to grab it?
What do you want me to do with it? You want me to shoot?
What? They bloomed for it when you did it.
So again, we asked if whoever was there communicating with us wanted us to pick up the gun and start shooting it. And I picked it up, and that actually, as you can tell, the device went off as I was picking it up and pulling the trigger. Here's another piece of paranormal evidence. Same thing. The Flex is right here. It's going off. I'm firing the gun.
Want me to shoot it again? You hear that?
Well,
yes, it said yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm actually gonna go back to here real quick, okay? As you can tell, it's in standby mode. Well, it ain't in standby mode right now, but it was. Okay. So right now it's in standby mode, just to show everyone that I'm not within the range to set that off. I'm not even close enough to set that off, because if I was in the range to set that off, that whole thing would have been lit up throughout this entire clip. But it wasn't lit up. It wasn't lit up during this whole entire clip. So I just want to clarify that after it responded, it went into standby mode. And you see, I'm not setting it off. That's in standby mode. When it blinks like that, it's standby mode. So I just want to clarify that. Oh. All right. Now let's talk about the Leisure Hour. This is Albion, Michigan. The Leisure Hour was a club that was started back in the 1905, 1910. It was in a whole nother building. This building right here was used for it was used for like a junkyard, chop shop, stuff like that, before the Leisure Hour moved into it. Louis Flesher and Sam Fatty Bernstein. Now, they co-owned the Riverside Iron Metal Company. Okay, they did that as a front to be able to break into stores and stuff and try and steal safes out of businesses. And Sam Fatty Bernstein was not even a blood relative to the Bernsteins. They were Louis Flesher and Sammy Fatty Bernstein, yeah. They were in-laws, because both I think their wives were like sisters or something like that. And again, there was a safe cracking operation in their business. So if you, here is where Louis Flesher would live. And this was the apartment complex. This is it right here. We went to, me and Maggie went to go find it because we wanted to see like how far it was over the river. Now, Louis Flesher, he stayed here because he had to keep an eye on these two businesses for police activity. Now, Louis Flesher, he was like a top leader in the Purple Gang. He started out young in criminal activity. He served time, got out, did more criminal activity, stuff like that. So they also stole a 1935 Grand Page. Now, this car is a very expensive car. This is how they would gut it and use like ramps and stuff to push the safes up into the car and take it back. They would also in the back of the car, they would swap plates out to throw the cops off. They didn't want the cops to know that this car was like used for their safe cracking operations and stuff like that. So they would swap plates out and stuff. So eventually their business got robbed. And as you can see, there's the car. And then back there's the barn. And they found the sedan with bullet holes on the left side, 2 sets of stolen plates, weapons, burglary tools. And this was what they found inside there. Silencers. This is like something to a Tommy gun. That is too. Brass knuckles, stuff like that, dude. They had some weapons. So I'm going to go into, again, Scott Bernstein. During my interview with him, we touched base on the Leisure Hour in Albion, Michigan. And I'll play this for you all to hear. This is some really good information. And again, there was some information that I didn't even know yet. until I talked to Scott about it. You know about Albion, Michigan. You know,
yeah.
Lewis Fletcher.
Fleischer.
Fletcher.
He pronounces it Fletcher?
Is it Fletcher or Fletcher?
It's Fleischer.
Fletcher?
Like Fleischer.
Oh, Fletcher.
Like Flysher.
Okay.
Fleischer.
Fletcher.
Yeah.
So you know he ran a junkyard and a chop shop.
Yeah, and his dad ran a junkyard in the old neighborhood where all those guys would hang out when they were kids.
Okay, so we went to that location and we investigated it for one night. The people who owned it allowed us in, and I actually asked when I was investigating. I said, "Was there anyone murdered here?" And there was a voice that came across my spirit box, which I'll explain that real quick what it is. It's basically scans through frequencies where the spirit can talk over a sweep of frequency. Mm-hmm. It said yes. There was multiple, it said multiple people. Now here's the funny part. So my wife mentioned Lewis's name, right? And next thing you know, you hear a clink, like a click or a clink. And it was really crazy how that went down. I'm going to be honest, Scott. Like, we think it was two pool balls because we were standing next to the pool table, and we think it was two cube or pool balls that clinked together responding to our question. Mm-hmm. Now, this is, in my research, this is what I found out, okay? I found out Lewis, Sam, and another brother were
Harry?
Yep, all stayed in Albion, Michigan.
Yep.
And I found out that Lewis was like up there in the gang. And
all three of them were.
Okay. And I found out that he was like the leader of the group in Albion, Michigan.
Yeah.
Like he stayed in an apartment house, which we found when we were there. We found it. It was 108. Mm-hmm. It was like a yellow big house / apartment, because you can see multiple, like.
I've seen it before.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Yeah. I'm sorry. And
no, it's okay.
Okay, and we also found out that he also, cracked safes in the attic of where the 1 hour leisure hour was, in the attic, and then the bottom part of it was where they would house the sedan that was caught, that the police found weapons and stuff, and had the bulletproof windows and holes in the glass, which I think that's impressive.
Was tied to the Hooper?
Oh, was they?
I believe it was. They murdered a U.S. senator.
Yes.
Yeah. Or sorry, I apologize.
No,
they murdered a state senator.
Okay. And
I don't want to. Yeah.
No, you're fine. I was going to
say it again.
No, you're fine. I was actually going to get to that because I was going to lead into what I found out in my research, and you can correct me if I leave anything out.
You've done a great job so far.
Okay, thank you. And then we also found out that the junkyard that was candy corner of the shop, that's where they would take the safes that they cracked to get rid of the evidence. And here's one of my questions. If you know, now when they swap plates out, what did they do with the old plates? Will they just take it over to that junkyard, or how did they do that?
I mean, I can't speak to the specific protocol, but
okay.
It seems like, I mean, I know that part of their MO was switching plates out.
Yeah.
It makes sense that they would move it from one property to the other.
Okay.
And like I said, that the Fleischer family had a history in the junkyard trade. Those kids all grew up at a junkyard in the east side of Detroit, run by the Fleischer's dad.
Okay. Now, do you know, did they meet at, did Lewis and them meet at, the theater? you know, is it the Boer Theater in Albion?
In Albion?
Yeah.
That was one of the places they hung out at.
Was it? Okay. I was just wondering, like.
You got to understand strategically why Albion was such a hub, because there was a lot of activity going on between the Detroit mob or the Detroit Purple Gang and the Capone mob in Chicago, and Albion is on the way to Chicago. So,
yeah.
Detroit to Chicago is about 4 hours, and Albion's about an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes out of Detroit. So it's almost halfway.
Yeah.
So it kind of was utilized as a as almost like a safe haven in between Chicago and Detroit, even though the Fleischers and Purples were running rackets around Albion. But it was in terms of like there was a lot of safe houses that people would pay, like from Chicago, they would pay the Fleischers and the Purples to hide them in that Western Michigan area in between Albion and Kalamazoo.
Okay.
Or Battle Creek. Yeah.
Okay. So that was the part of the interview of Claire Michigan in the Leisure Hour with Scott Bernstein. Again, I learned some new information that I did not know, and he provided some more insight into that, and I appreciated him to do that. Now we're going to go and talk about the evidence. Okay, now the Leisure Hour, inside of it, there's like a pool table, and then if you go through like this room, there's like 3, 4, maybe 5 tables, and there's like a bar that goes, and so I told my wife, I said, hey, when I was up in the attic, I said, hey, take the SLS camera downstairs and see what you can capture. And I was just like, wow, you know. So in that process, I'm going to play the evidence, okay? So as you can tell, and I'll play it again. As you can tell, we caught a full figure standing on the table. As you can tell, it's standing on the pool table. That's a full figure standing on the pool table. It was there for a brief second, and then it went away. And then it just went away. So it took like a minute to, you know, show. Now here, I'm up in the attic. And I'm showing, and my wife is right here on the SLS, and
oh shit. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yep. Like right behind, well, what's right behind you? Yeah. Oh.
So again, as you can tell, there's a figure right here in front of this crate or box or stand or whatever it was. I can't remember. And it was doing something right here. Now, I don't know if it was trying to move it. I don't know if it was thinking it was a safe and is trying to crack the safe. I'm not sure. I believe this is the gun, but I believe I put the cap gun right here too, but I think that's the cap gun. I'm not really sure if I put the cap gun there. But as you can tell, it was doing something with its arms and hands. Right here. See it?
Oh shit.
And it's standing right in front of this.
Oh wow. Yep. Like right behind, well, what's right behind you? Yeah. Oh.
And then it moved over there. So I don't know what exactly he was trying to do with its, you know, hands or arms. I don't know if it was trying to you know, safe crack, you know, safe crack a safe, or was trying to move that. I don't know. Maybe trying to grab the cap gun. I'm not sure. So we'll go into this. Now here, I'm trying to think. You're going to hear two pieces of evidence here, okay? Here I think I asked if one of these I asked if people were, I think this one right here, we'll play this one first. This is where I asked if anyone was murdered here on this property of the Leisure Hour.
Was there anybody murdered on this property?
As you can tell, it said yes.
Was there anybody murdered on this property?
And here, I think I asked if this place was used for like a safe cracking type business.
Do you see strip the cars?
Oh, strip cars.
In this? Do you hear that?
So whatever was communicating with me when I asked that question, it said yes, and it said me.
Do you see strip the cars? In this? Do you hear that?
So that was kind of cool to, you know, get a direct response to my question. So as we go on here, this is my trailer to the documentary that's coming out at the end of this year. I figured I'll tag it in here, let you all see it, and play it for you guys.
There's Lewis Schweitzer live.
Whoa. Did you hear that?
You did hear that.
Did you hear that?
Where'd that come
Oh, shit. Did you hear that?
from? Oh, it's you.
No.
Where's that coming from?
No. That's the freaking, there's something. It came from over here. Daltrey Hotel. What did you experience?
Well, I was there for dinner, and I was sitting at the dining area in the back, and I kept feeling uncomfortable.
So again, I just want to give my social media. You can find us at Facebook at Toledo Spirit Hunters. We're on Instagram, of course, at Toledo Spirit Hunters, and Twitter, and our YouTube channel. You can find, you know, the trailer, any extra footage that's not going to be in the documentary will probably be on our YouTube channel, where you can see extra lost footage. That's how I claim it to be, lost footage that never made it. But that's about it. And I want to thank everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope I didn't do too bad, guys. I apologize if I did. It's my first time. So, but thank you.
Dennis, trying to get everybody to unmute here. Yay.
Oh, okay.
There we go. They got to get their videos back. So, hey, everybody.
I'm gonna start with Vicky here. Vicky, you asked if the Bernstein lawyers are related to the members. Isaiah was not a lawyer, was a lawyer for the Bernsteins, but for the Purple Gang, but not related. Actually, Isaiah's ranch is actually a location where you can actually do like a reception for weddings. And I actually reached out to them to see if they would allow us to come in and investigate. So it's, you know, it's a talking situation because they're, you know, they're up and down about it. But I will tell you this. I just had the Detroit, you know, the Detroit hotel, the big one downtown. I actually reached out to the Marriott. Is it the Marriott? Yeah, the Marriott. They own that hotel. And I reached out to the Marriott website and the company itself. And I actually asked them if I could come in and investigate the hotel at the time that Abe Bernstein was staying in. So I'm in talks with them and letting us come in and investigate that room. So, you know, like I'm, you know, telling everyone right now, this documentary is just part one. We only got 3 locations to sum up part one. There are multiple locations that I'm also researching and reaching out to that I'm trying to talk to allow them to let us come in and investigate and film for a part 2.
Cool.
So.
Anybody have questions? Stories to share?
Nobody has any stories?
What? Here's my question, everyone. What did you all think of the evidence? You liked it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it impressive? Like the bullet hole in that window. I cannot explain that. And neither could Rhino. He could not explain that. You guys could see it's a simple bullet hole. Now you have to wait till the documentary comes out to figure out all the rest of it. Like I said, I didn't want to give away the whole thing to you guys. Now, what I thought was cool was the when I played the basement of that place, and a mail came across and said, "Shoot me!" Like it literally said, "Shoot me!" Like it was asking me to shoot them. The bullet hole was creepy. You want to go visit these places? Yeah. We did not recover any victims. Now, I'm also, okay, you guys heard of the Collingwood Manor, right? Apartments where there were 2 former Purple Gang members that broke off and started their own gang. Well, they met with, I think it was one of the Fletchers, and Abe Bernstein set up a meeting with them at the apartment complex where they were staying, and Fletcher went in guns blazing, shot them both, and I actually was looking for the address to that place. That place is actually an empty lot. Like it's an empty lot, nothing but grass, nothing but land, okay? So my plan is either June or July, we're going out to that empty lot. And what I'm going to do is I'm bringing my team out. I'm also bringing a medium out, and I'm also bringing a Ouija board. I'm actually going to try to communicate with whatever is still attached to that to find out if those old gang members are still attached to that property. Because if you guys actually watch Ghost Adventures, and I'll go a little bit into that, okay? So Zach Bagans, you know, Ghost Adventures, he did a documentary on a house in Indiana called The Demon House, okay? He tore that house down, but yet the dark energy is still attached to that land. So I'm hoping that when we go out there, that the energy is still attached to that land, and we actually get some responses on the Ouija board. I'm also going to have my spirit box going. I'm also going to have other equipment, but I can't wait. I'm excited to do that with my team and actually see if they're still attached to that property. The Purple Gang was a part of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but here's the funny part about it, okay? But I'm not going to give that away because Scott Bernstein actually touched base on that. And he told me a little bit a part of it, but I'm not going to touch base on that. You have to wait until the documentary comes out, okay? What happened to the main members of the gang? They were, I don't believe they were killed off. I believe that they were actually, I think if my correction of research is correct, some of them were sent to prison and actually sent to Alcatraz to serve out their days for criminal activity. Did you do a historic walk tour in Albion? No. Now, I will also touch base on Albion. I'm also trying to get a hold of the theater there because the theater upstairs is where the Purple Gang would meet some of the members. So I'm trying to get a hold of them and work with them and let us come in and film and investigate. Did I talk to any of the children, either of the gangster victims? Well, I did put a post out. Some of the people that reached out to me, they gave me stories through like Facebook Messenger, which I'm going to post in the documentary. They told me stories about their great grandparents that would run for do runs for the Purple Gang, or they would do stuff like that. Like I said, the only ancestor that I talked to was Scott Bernstein of the original founders of the Purple Gang. He was the only blood related relative. It's weird, but yeah, he's a really cool guy. He actually gave me some more names of locations to look into too, which I got to do follow up research on. Why were they called the Purple Gang? Well, the reason why they were called the Purple Gang was because an owner of a shop, they did something, they did some kind of theft, and the owner of the shop said that they were as bitter and sour as like purple decayed meat. So that's how they got the name the Purple Gang. That's how it came about. Like they were like purple meat, as if you let it sit out. That's how they got the name. Do you think the relatives are linked to themselves with the gang? No. Scott Bernstein told me that he said that because he's an ancestor of the gang, that he even told me and during that whole interview, it was like an hour-long interview, and he even said, he was like, people don't realize these guys were ruthless. He said these guys were ruthless, and that, that he's not very proud of them, but, he can't help that he's related to them. But yeah, so he's not proud of his relatives. But it's cool to talk to him, and he's got he had a lot of interesting stories and history, and so is anyone else is there a piece of evidence that you guys really liked?
The bullet hole.
The bullet hole? Yeah. Verbal responses? Yeah. The Purple Gang, connection to Al Capone, I'll touch base on that. So what the Purple Gang did with Al Capone, the connection to Al Capone, was that they had basically worked a contract out where Al Capone would meet with the Purple Gang and get the alcohol. So the Purple Gang basically brought the alcohol over from Canada. So they brought it over into Detroit, and then they would meet with Al Capone somewhere in Michigan or Toledo or, you know, in between Chicago and Detroit, and they would hand the alcohol over to Al Capone, and Al Capone would give them
drink
money.
it.
So, but here's a question. Do you guys know where the wall to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre is?
Yes.
No? It's in Las Vegas in the Mob Museum.
Oh, they moved it?
Yes. The original wall is in the Mob Museum in Las Vegas. Now here's a good part. Here's the best part. Me and my wife were actually taking a vacation to Vegas at the end of May. I'm actually going to go visit the Mob Museum to see that wall. Now, they got McGurkin's Tommy gun, original Tommy gun, in that museum. And they also have Paranormal Activity there. Workers have claimed to witness seeing like tall, dark shadow figures and stuff like that at the corner eye or at the corner of the wall or the hallway. So, yeah. I have not looked into that's one thing I have not looked into is the Michigan records of the archives, but thank you for the idea. I am going to write that down and look that up because I would like to know. That never crossed my mind. I appreciate whoever asked that question. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, 3 bullets sealed his lips, huh? I want to visit the Mob Museum. Yep. Yeah, we're going to visit the Mob Museum. We're also going to visit the Haunted Museum.
Where's that at?
The Haunted Museum?
Mm-hmm.
It's in Vegas. It's Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Okay. He houses a lot of known artifacts like the Dybbuk box, Peggy the Doll, stuff like that. If you guys are into paranormal.
What was the Dybbuk box? I never heard of that one.
The Dybbuk box basically is a Jewish box. The story behind it is a Jewish woman who was involved in the Holocaust purchased this box, and it basically has a spirit that is attached to it that has unfinished business. So basically, it possesses its owner. So, but there's like 8 of them. There's like a tree trunk one, then there's like levels of one. Well, he's got the top one, and he's got the tree trunk one.
Huh. Yeah.
The Dybbuk boxes. The movie The Possession, that was based off the Dybbuk box. You ever watched it? Am I planning doing research on their activity in your county? Yes. I'm looking at certain cities. I'm reaching out to certain locations. Like I said, I'm still doing research. You know, like I said, this is just the part 1 of the documentary because there are multiple locations. I mean, as soon as this whole pandemic's over, I'm sure it's going to lead us into Canada where there's locations that we don't know about yet. And it's going to lead us to Chicago where there's locations we don't know yet. So it's going to bring more. This is just the start of it.
I think they used to grow corn or something up in Carroll. They had headquarters up in Carroll, Michigan, in the Thumb for producing the sugar, I think, if I remember right, for making, I don't know. I don't know. What did they do the sugar? What would they use the sugar for if the whiskey came from Canada? That doesn't make sense, does it?
No, but their name was called the Sugar Gang, though, before they were called the Purple Gang, because like I said, the reason they got the Purple Gang is because the store owner said that they were as ruthless and mean and dirty as
rotten meat.
A rotten meat, yep. That
Yeah.
turned purple. That's how they got their name.
I just recall Carroll, Michigan in their story, but I don't remember how now. But it's another option to search.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also, if you actually look in, if you really zoom in on Detroit, there's also an island outside of Detroit before you hit Canada. There's purple gang connections there too, because they use that little island. I gotta look into that too.
They were quite active along here, I think.
Yeah, it's like the owner of the Doherty Hotel, the Generation Doherty. He said the reason why Clare was so popular is because it was a really good connection. A lot of multiple, roads and highways. So
I remember going up to the resort community. It was by Rose City, Michigan, Mayo, in that area. It's burnt down now, but I remember as a kid going there and they had the hole in the door and the walk around the top, so the guys could walk around with their guns on the top. I think it's burnt down now, but it was surrounded by cabins and like a dance hall. I do remember that. That was up north beyond Clare.
Yeah. I'm actually hoping, like I said, I'm still in talks with some locations, and I'm hoping they'll, be like, okay, yeah, you can come in. Some of them are like roadblocking me right now, and it's like I'm trying to negotiate.
Yeah.
It's really hard to negotiate.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, some places are like, what's in it for us? We're allowing you to come in. What's in it for us? And again, Doherty Hotel, I'll tell you right now, I reached out to the owner the first time and they were like, no, we don't want no part of it. We don't want the publicity. We don't want none of it. Because at first I was like, okay, well, I'm doing a paranormal documentary. And that's when they emailed me back like, nope, we're not interested, blah, blah, blah. Then I was like, okay. So I gave it about a month and a half, and I emailed them again. But this time I said, look, I'm doing a documentary on the Purple Gang. I said, I know the Doherty Hotel has ties to them. I know there was a shooting here. I know basically all that, and I would like to include that history in this documentary. And then they emailed me back and they're like, okay, well then, they're like, okay, well, you pay us $200, you can come in, do, film, shoot, whatever. I was like, okay. So it took about, again, a good year, maybe 6 months, 7 months for Doherty Hotel to actually be like, okay, you can come in. Like I said, some of these locations are, they're hard-headed, but once you tell them that you're doing something, a history, or you're doing a documentary and stuff like that, then, they either want you to pay some money to come in, or they're, they'll, finally be like, okay. So. Yeah. So how many people are you guys looking forward to the documentary to come out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm actually looking for 2 theaters to rent out in Michigan to play it on.
After COVID.
Yeah, after COVID. Yeah.
After COVID.
Yeah. But I'm also going to release it on Amazon Prime, and I'm looking at other streaming platforms too. And I'll put it. What's that?
Dennis, you and Scott talked about the assassination of Senator Hooper.
Yeah.
You said you knew about that? Did you find out any other information?
All I know was that the car that they found was tied to the assassination, but they do not know to this day who did it.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
His wife, Mrs. Hooper, was a music teacher in Marysville for years.
Oh.
And I had her as a music teacher in the late 50s and early 60s.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know until after I graduated from high school that it was her husband that was assassinated. She never mentioned it, of course.
Yeah, there's actually a Michigan museum that is in what's the word I'm looking for? Is in possession of Senator Hooper's hat where he was shot in the head. Now, here's the funny part. I have reached out to that museum to ask them if I can come and investigate that hat because I want to see if the senator's energy is still attached to that hat. But they denied me and said no. So, but they are allowing me to come out and film that hat. So, again,
you want to get in touch with the Henry Ford Museum. They've got the car that Kennedy was assassinated in. They've got the chair that Lincoln was sitting in when he was shot at Ford Theater. Maybe you'll have something there.
Now, and I'll let you in on something too. The Henry Ford Museum, I reached out to them to do a paranormal investigation for my paranormal series separate from my documentary, and they turned me down too.
Yeah.
If I can interrupt, this is Gail Decatur. A book was written on the Hooper murders. It is available through Amazon and Michigan State University Press.
Okay.
The title is 3 Bullets Sealed His Lips, written by Bruce Rubenstein. We have read the book. It's very interesting. It's written from the transcripts on the murder trial of those that were brought into trial and accused of the murder. And Mr. Ziegler, that was the state attorney general at that time. And we too had Mrs. Hooper as a music teacher. And it happened that my grandmother bought from Mrs. Hooper the first house that Mrs. Hooper occupied when she returned to Marysville here. So if you read this book, it gives you a different perspective on Mrs. Hooper's cooperation with that trial. Brought a lot of questions. I wish I could have read the book 25 years ago, but we found it very interesting. My husband and I and another classmate have read it.
Okay.
Joanne, who did you say the author was?
Bruce Rubenstein, Rubenstein, and it's available through Amazon and the Michigan State University Press.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll look that up. But yeah, no, but anyway, so everyone, I wanted to do a paranormal side of this whole, documentary. It's kind of cool to actually capture, energy and spirits and actually hear them respond to your questions. Because again, you just don't know. Like I said, with Senator Hooper's hat, we don't know if he's still attached to that hat. Will he, I don't know if I can go, even if I had, the privilege to investigate that hat, I don't know if his spirit's still attached to it. I don't even know if he would even tell us who murdered him. It would make history if I found out who murdered him.
Yeah, it would.
It would. It would make history. I would have paranormal evidence of him saying who murdered him. So
that's assuming he knew.
Yeah. I mean,
it could have been Purple Gang assassins and not people that he would have known.
That's true too. I mean, I don't know if he had a good look at his the assailant's face. Who killed him? I don't know. He could have got shot in the head 2, 3, 5 meters away or 10, 50 meters away with a sniper gun. I don't know, So, but to this day, nobody knows. And I always that's like one of my goals is to try and find out. But again, like my wife told me, You know, when we were doing when we were investigating Cops and Donuts, you know, we were getting some voices, but it went silent. And then, you know, like my wife said, when we were at the Doherty Hotel, they're not going to talk. You know, the gang members, they don't talk. They're not snitches. They don't talk. I could ask every question in the book at the Doherty. I'll tell you guys right now, there's no spirits that come, no voices come across that spirit box. None whatsoever. Never had that happen ever. And I was asking every question in the book I could think of. Nothing. Getting a lot of responses on the Flex too, but nothing over the spirit box. Nothing. I can't say if Capone, if Al Capone has been to Port Huron. I'm not sure. I know he's been to Toledo because there's like a hotel here in Toledo that there's like a little building in the back of it where he would meet, because I was looking for a location to open up a haunted museum here locally in Toledo, and the city of Toledo offered me like 3, 4, 5 buildings to look at. And one of them, she told me that Al Capone was, like, the building behind that hotel was where Al Capone would meet some of the gang members. So it's hard to say if Al Capone was here in Port Huron. I can't say that, you know, for sure. What was I going to say? Do you guys know where Al Capone served time? East State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. You know, and do you know that when he was serving time, he said that the victims that he killed haunted him? He would tell like the correction officers that he would see the spirits of males. Like, he was freaked out. Yeah. If you actually go to the East State Penitentiary, they'll show you his cell. He had a nice cell. Like, it was nice. He had a table, a freaking recliner, a lamp, a bed. I mean, this guy was like living luxury there. It was crazy.
Dennis?
Yeah.
Didn't Al Capone die of syphilis?
I believe so, but he died in prison.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe the syphilis, because it goes to the brain, you know, toward the end.
Yep, that could have been. That's a good point.
Stuff too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there are other stories that lead to some of his victims haunting him. Like, I'll give you, for instance, the Winchester home. The wife of the husband, she kept building, adding onto her house, because everyone who was murdered by the rifle those spirits would come and haunt her, and she would consult with mediums, and mediums told her, keep building, and she has all these rooms. I mean, you don't know where you are, because it's a maze, because all she did was build to distract the spirits. The house is actually out in California, by the way, if anybody wants to go visit. Anyone here into paranormal? Anyone? Anyone a believer? Anyone a skeptic? Anyone a non-believer? It's okay. I mean, you can be honest. I don't hold nothing against anybody. I love skeptics, though. I'll be honest. I do love skeptics. I'll be honest.
I would say that personally, for myself,
yeah.
I need to experience it firsthand before I believe in anything. So I don't disbelieve, but I've never experienced anything myself yet. So.
And you're entitled to that. Believe me, when I got into the paranormal, I was actually an investigator that never had an experience. I actually was watching the shows, and I was like, is this real? You know, because I was like, you could do this stuff just to stage it. So I actually went to a public ghost hunt here locally, and I actually captured EVPs, which is electronic voice phenomena, where they can talk over a voice recorder. You can't hear with your own ears, but they'll record. Well, it records them. And I was like, oh, wow, you know, this is cool. So then I just was like, start rolling with it. And I, again, joined the team, broke off, started my own team. And ever since 2017, I just been at it. And I was just like, man, I mean, you know, I've been to Waverly Hills. I've been to Ohio Reformatory. I have done residential homes. I have cleansed homes. I have, you know, I've been attacked. I have been touched. I have experienced things like I can't even explain. Like some things I can't explain, some I can, some I can't. But it's really cool. But again, you know, and I feel the same way as what's your name? I forgot.
Kathy.
Kathy. Okay. I feel the same way, Kathy. Just like, you know, do I believe that there's a Bigfoot? Don't know. Can't tell you. I have to experience it for myself. You know, I'm not saying I'm a believer or non-believer, but I have to see one for myself. You know, same way with UFOs. Again, I gotta see it with my own eyes to believe it.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
our group had a unique experience last fall when we went to video record cemetery cleanings of the tombstones over at Lakeside Cemetery in Port Huron.
Yeah.
I offered to record it, and I made sure that it was 100%. I got all the videos and extra information, clips or anything taken off, so I would have a lot of space, right? Okay, go to record it. It wouldn't record. I thought, okay, go back to my car, because I'm looking for the red record button. Everything was there. The camera was there, but the red record button wasn't. So after about 4 or 5 tries, one of the members that her ancestors were there on this good-sized plot, that she went over to each one, and I said, talk to them, you know, to let them know it's okay. And she did. You're not going to believe this. It started recording. Then I ran out of juice because, you know, what they do is they drain off the batteries, the electronic energy, they will drain. So that was the most recent and the eeriest one I've had to experience. But
oh, dope, man! I can tell you, I own over 100 haunted artifacts right now in my basement. I have wheelchairs to doctor bags to dolls to you name it. I'm actually going to get a 1900 high chair.
Yeah.
Back in the 1900s. Okay. Yeah. Now this high chair possessed a 1 and 3-year-old. It has a Ouija board attached to it.
Oh, geez.
The table. That's a Ouija board. Okay. Had a medium do a reading on it for me. Okay. He said that the mother was into witchcraft. The father was not too happy.
Yeah.
And he could see a kid lashing back and forth, banging its head on the back of the high chair. And he said it has ties with Zozo. Now, if anyone knows who Zozo is part of the whole demon Ouija board type thing. Okay, I'm not going to go into all that, but that's what that whole tie is. So, this high chair that I'm getting, I have to seal, like in the box. I have to seal the whole box, cracks, everything. And I got to store it somewhere. But it's going to stay away from my kids because I don't want my kids to get affected by it. But this high chair, I don't know how dangerous it is. This is just what the medium was getting a reading off of. Now, the investigator that I'm getting it from is a good friend of mine from Florida. And he had it with him for a while. And he asked if I wanted it. And I said, yeah, because he's actually going to partner with me and my wife when we open the Haunted Museum. And he was like, I think this would be good to put in the Haunted Museum. I said, I agree. It's sort of like having the devil's rocking chair. I don't know if you ever heard of that. That has to do with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Okay, that's actually in Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. but we're actually on a side note, me and my wife are trying to come up with a cool name for his high chair. But on the other side, I'm trying to keep it, you know, secured, safe, away from my kids.
Storage unit.
Yeah, I may look into a storage unit. But I've come to learn if you seal all the cracks in the box, the spirit can't get out. So
I think 1 and 3-year-olds are possessed anyhow. So
you know what? I have a 6-year-old, and I actually put holy water on his forehead to calm him down, and it actually worked. So I'm going to be honest. I thought it was going to burn him. I thought it was going to set his head on fire, but that's beside the point. But yeah, it actually calmed him down. Not going to lie, it did. I've threatened to do an exorcism on him a couple times, but you know, he's actually got ADHD, so that's a handful. Everyone's had an experience with that. But again, you know, you know, in the end, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone who enjoyed this. I hope I didn't suck too much. Like I said, it's my first presentation, and I appreciate everyone who attended. And you know,
Dennis, I have to say that I am so sorry. There should have been another 25 people here. I am bumming. I'm telling you, I am really bumming. And I'm so glad that the people were able to get in. I have to find out what's going on with Zoom. I don't know. They updated the settings last month because to get the kinks out and the bugs out. I think they put more in. I really do. But I never had that problem. You know, this is a new one. This is a total new one to me.
Yeah.
So I hope other people were able to enjoy and.
Oh yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed it, you know, and
we did.
Yeah.
It was entertaining, Dennis.
Thank you. And I hope the evidence like blew your mind. That's what I was going for is, you know, I had fun doing the research and I had fun, you know, doing the interviews, but it was the evidence that I was aiming for because I wanted to capture the evidence as a paranormal investigator or, you know, ghost hunter, whatever you want to call it. We have multiple names, but to capture that evidence, that's what matters.
Oh yeah.
You know, because
definitely,
like I said, you know, with the Hooper, you know, hat, I would love to just investigate that for about 2, 3, 4, 5 hours and see what I can get, you know, but, you know, so.
Well, you have our email on that. Keep us posted. Okay, so I in turn can let these people know and other people that couldn't make it tonight. I am gonna, like the recording, I am gonna link it up to Google UpDrive documents and that. So we'll have to go from there.
And you guys are more than welcome to, again, look my page up and follow it. And I do have a group page too that you can come join. I share, you know, a lot of things in there that has to do with the documentary, or, you know, sometimes I'll put little sneak peeks of evidence in there for everyone to see, you know. I don't give the whole thing away, but, you know. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Very good.
Yes. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. I'm hoping to link up with Carol and Vicky once I get part 2 done and do another presentation and let you guys see that evidence of new locations.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. So.
Thank you.